So he was in the office, like just being a fly on the wall, kind of like what we were today, just like, like with his laptop and in my office and outside in the cubicle area, whatever. And then after like 2 weeks, I got an email from him, and it was like a 30-page PowerPoint presentation on how we can like grow the business. Like he didn't even tell me. He just sent me an email. I'm like, yo, what the heck is this? And then after that is when we started talking.
You never do that for me, bro. What the fuck?
Hey, I did a paragraph. You remember that?
He texts you.
So really quick, just to rewind, because you said when you first started out, it took you a couple of months to get your first deal.
Yeah.
What was that first deal? Was it a wholesale deal? Was it a fix and flip or what?
Yeah, it was a wholesale deal.
Okay.
I saw like a Joe McCall podcast. Remember that? And
is he like a creative financing kind of dude?
Yeah, I think I listened to a podcast, and back then, this was maybe 2013, and he was saying to text Section 8 landlords and say, hey, I know you're renting your house, but are you considering selling? And so I would just text a bunch of people through Google Voice, and that's how I got my first deal, actually.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
And he told you to just put it under contract and then assign it to a buyer or close on it
exactly.
or sell it or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And it took a couple of months. So how did those 2 months look? Like, how was your day to day? Was that all you did, or were you working full time, or what?
Probably. So it took 3 months. Probably the first month I was like on and off at the dealer.
Which dealer?
The car dealer I was working on, which was a family business, by the way, that was doing really well. That was kind of my path to like take over this family business that was doing well, but I just didn't like it there. And nothing wrong with the dealer. I just personally wasn't for me.
Sure.
And I would say month 1, I was still on and off. And then month 2 and 3, I was full throttle, just like doing cold calls, sending cold text, going on appointments. I sent some direct mail, like I maxed out my credit cards, sent direct mail. So I was calling people and just going in-person appointments and just trying to figure it out, really.
Gotcha. And then the person that finally agreed to sell to you and to engage in a contract with you, how did that transaction go? Like, how did you get them to agree?
So it's funny. It was like the easiest thing in the world. It was a property manager that said, hey, this isn't my property, it's my client's. I'll ask him if he wants to sell. And then he got back to me. He's like, hey, he says he'll sell it for $60,000. And I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Because I looked at Zillow, and at 120 seemed like the ARV. So I'm like, okay, let's do it. So I faxed him. He told me, fax me the contract. So I faxed him the contract, and he faxed it back within like an hour.
With a signature
contract signed. With a signature. I'm like, I cannot believe I just got a faxed first contract.
Did you like shit your pants and you're like, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah. I took a little moment. I walked around the neighborhood to like freak out a little bit, and I came back in and I had to find a buyer now.
So how'd you do that? How'd you find your first buyer?
So I went on the county records. At this point, like I was looking at YouTube and podcasts all the time to figure it out. So when I searched cash buyers, I saw a video. I can't remember who it was. It was whatever. She mentioned to go on public records and search up LLCs who bought nearby your house.
Okay.
So found the LLC, I Googled it, and it happened to be a law firm that bought a property nearby. So I Googled that, a phone number came up, I cold called it. I said, hey, the buyer's name was Zach. I said, hey, Zach, is this Zach? He's like, yeah. I'm like, so the lawyer answered the phone of his company. It was crazy. And I'm like, hey, I saw this this property you bought. I have one nearby. Are you interested in buying another one? He's like, sure, let me get my partner on the phone who does the acquisition. We did a 3-way call, and right there, we agreed verbally, and it was a $6,000 profit.
Hell yeah.
They went to go inspect it the next day, and then they inspected, they agreed, and then that's how we got the first deal.
And you're like, this really works.
I was like, oh shit.
Cool.
Hell yeah.
Did that start your momentum of deal after deal after deal?
Yeah.
And how did the next few months go?
So it was crazy because, it did start the momentum. And so I got to talking to Zach, which was the buyer, and I said, hey, like, look, I'm just starting out, but like, I'm going to do a lot of deals. And he's like, look, this is what I'm going to buy. And he sent me a spreadsheet of like his buy criteria, basically. And he's like, if it fits these numbers and it hits this number, we'll buy it. So I literally, that year, I probably sold him like 25 houses. I just went shopping on the MLS for his criteria and sold him a bunch of houses.
Hell yeah.
So
that's exactly how I met Dom.
Oh, that's
crazy.
crazy.
Literally
that's
a big investor. He was like, this is my formula. Find me anything that fits this and I'll buy it. started looking on the MLS, saw his houses,
Wow.
and then, just slinging deals to that one buyer.
Dude,
Yeah.
from a cold call. Like
I was motivated. I was a motivated
I
seller.
closed his ass.
Yeah.
I done got closing. So, all right, that's cool. And then you guys got together like a couple of years later, you said?
And 4 years after that.
Yeah, maybe like 4 years after that.
4 years after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm interested in this presentation. So you were there, fly on the wall, seeing his operation. At this point, what did your operation look like when he went to check you guys out for the first time?
So when he was there, we were like basically all MLS.
Okay.
So we had an office. We had probably like 4 acquisitions agents just making offers on the MLS every day and talking to realtors and locking up properties. And then we had probably like 2 people dispositioning them to buyers. And that was essentially my operation, and me. And then I had a partner that we parted ways. That was it. They each had metrics, right? They each would have to make 15 offers a day on the MLS, lock up X, we sell. And that's when Lewis came in. That's pretty much what we had going on. We were doing some direct mail. That was about it.
Testing different things.
I kind of knew that the MLS was drying up at that point. It was like maybe 2017, around there. I'm like, okay, something's not as hot as 2013 anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was already starting to dabble in direct mail and things, and then like that's when Lewis came up.
So
What
what
did
did oh my bad.
I was just going to say, like, what did the deals per month kind of look like at that time?
Between 5 to 7 deals per month.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Okay.